Hey guys, it's Kelly. I did an ICWIC, an index card when I can. It's actually a tag, and I recorded as I went. Lots of newbie stuff in here. So first I just painted my tag with white acrylic paint, and I'm leaving this in there with the brush strokes. See how I'm doing my brush? If you don't have all these funky things to add texture, you can just do it with acrylic paint and just get creative with how you use your brush on your paint. And you can still get some really cool texture. It's not as deep, but it's still cool. So I was just showing that. There's a lot of newbie stuff in this. So, and I kept it all in on purpose. So, and I showed you how your tag curls when it gets wet. You probably all know that, but there, you can use the makeup sponges for your distress inks and other inks. I prefer the ones that you can stick onto the little Velcro thing, the blending tools. I prefer those. I just think they're smoother and they don't leave little lines. The makeup sponges tend to leave little lines, and I'm not real crazy about that, but they work. They're definitely cheaper. But I just keep them all in a little container, and then I use a Sharpie on the back to initial what the color is that I used it for. So I used, oh gosh, I used all kinds of different colors. That is something peacock, my favorite one, the blue one, peacock feathers. And then with peacock feathers, I'm using some spiced marmalade. And over the painted background, I did this on purpose just to show some people who might not know, because we got a lot of newbies on the ICWIC crew community on Google+. Gosh, there's already 62 people on there. I'm so excited. But I'm just showing some newbie things here. So that's white acrylic paint under all this distress ink. All of this is water soluble stuff. Interesting things happen when you do that. So, and I'll show you here in a little bit. I made mistakes on purpose, and I did things differently on purpose. And you're like, yeah, right, Kelly. I did. But, yeah, so here I'm just putting all my distress ink over that. That's peeled paint. The red one is Barn Door. I think it's Barn Door and not Fire Brick Red. I can't remember. It's one or the other. And then I said I want a little bit more peacock feathers on there. So I'm just creating a background. None of this is going to show through too much. It's just going to be in the background. I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but I knew that this was just the background creation process. So once I got some of my colors down, this is for the newbies, I sprayed it with some water. And see what happens? And a lot of people, especially if you're new to mixed media and you figure this out, you're like, oh great, all my ink just disappeared. I don't like the colors or how it turned out. You don't have to give up on it. Just dry it really well. Your colors are still there. If they're not vibrant enough, just do it again. So, and this is all for demonstration stuff, the way I'm showing this. I could have just left it alone, but I did want it a little bit darker because I wanted to keep going with it. This is an example of when things aren't working out well, you don't just toss it in the garbage and start over. Just keep with it because you can make it work. So now I'm just adding a little bit more color and redoing my background a little bit. I didn't have to, but just showing you that you can. And that is a napkin that I had to separate. It wasn't cooperating. I left all that out. On your napkins there's usually 3 layers, and you only need that one. If you use the 2 layers, you don't separate it entirely, then it's going to buckle up on you a little bit more than you might want it to. It's not the end of the world. You don't have to separate it all the way. I prefer doing it that way because I want my background colors to show through. If you have too many layers of the napkin, your background colors won't show through. And this one didn't matter because you'll see why in a little bit. So I wound up using Mod Podge. Again, for newbies, when you use Mod Podge over water-soluble inks, you're going to make it smear. If you're very, very quick about it, you might get away with it. And I was very, very quick about it here. A lot of my green disappeared, but that was okay because my napkin still had the green on it. So I was alright with that. And then the other thing is, once you seal over it, even though you smeared a little bit, once you seal over it, when you try and put things on top of your Mod Podge, it's not going to work. So I'll show you. You'll see. So I put Mod Podge on there just to glue it down. And then it messes with your colors a little bit because it's all water soluble stuff. So once you get it wet again, it moves around. Even though you dry it, it's still going to move around on you. So after I dried my Mod Podge and had a sip of my peppermint tea, I'm showing you guys with peeled paint how the Mod Podge resists the color. You know, if you know this already, just bear with me here. We got a lot of newbies in the crew and a lot of newbies to mixed media, and this might be helping them. So I'm cleaning off my brush, and I need to blend in the green of the napkin with my background. So I'm using some Lumiere paint and my golden liquid acrylic glaze. And the reason why I'm doing that is because the glaze will thin out that paint, and I'd still be able to see some of that background color through it. And I wanted it to be thinned out and a little bit more translucent, I believe. So, but it didn't matter because a lot of those colors wind up getting covered up. But that's how it goes in mixed media. Sometimes you start with this great background, and then by the time you're done, you'll hardly see your background at all. And that's okay. It's all part of the creation process. So I'm just kind of dabbing that paint on. It's still not covering up the Mod Podge stuff that I wanted to show. You can still see it. Then I painted over it, but I'm also showing you that you can take a baby wipe and wipe the paint off, and then it blends a little bit better. So I still wiped off the paint and then had the green all around the bird. But the vibrancy of the bird is still, how vibrant it is still going to show through because I wiped off the paint. That is just a darker color green because I needed that darker color to kind of fade in. And some more of the acrylic glazing stuff. And then I'm just blotting it on. It doesn't completely cover it up, but you know what? I knew what I was going to do, and I was okay with it. I knew I was going to do a lot of stamping behind it. I wasn't sure which ones I was going to use, which stamps I was going to use, but I knew there was going to be a lot of stamping going on. So it would cover up a lot of that. So there it goes. I'm trying to blend it in. So tired. It's late. Sorry, I'm kind of tired sounding. But, you know, that's how it goes. Okay, so dried it really well. Got out my stamps. That's a Tim Holtz. I wasn't sure which one I was going to use. So I knew I was going to use archival ink for newbies. Use archival ink on top of that. It won't bleed. So I decided to use the Tim Holtz, what is it? Visual Artistry. And I love how he has those clear, transparent pieces where you can lay it down and see what it's going to look like before you stamp it. I love that. Love it. And I left the boo-boo in here. This was unexpected. I didn't do this on purpose. So, but that Lumiere paint is sticky. I dried it really well, but it still stayed a little bit sticky. And those stamps of Tim Holtz, those are really sticky. Now watch here. Ah, isn't that magical? All the paint just popped right off of there. But you know what? I didn't care. When I'm doing this kind of stuff, guys, this is my de-stress, decompress time, and I'm not going to stress about it. It's okay that that little part came up. I'll fix it. I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to freak out about it. This is my relax, enjoy myself time. So I just keep on going. I didn't miss a beat. With the way the green was going, I wasn't sure how that was going to look, but the different shades of it actually, once you wind up stamping on it, give it depth and like depth in the background. Like there's closer areas and farther areas. If it makes sense. Depth is the only thing I could think of. But those different layers of the green actually made it look kind of cool, I thought. It's not my favorite, but I liked how there were some things that went right and some things that went wrong. And that's how it's going to work sometimes. So, and I thought there's a lot of things in here that might help some of our newbies that are being brave and starting. They've been wanting to do mixed media for a long time. They're a little intimidated by it because it's so overwhelming sometimes. So I keep this stuff in there to help them out, because we were all newbies at one time. So I'm sticking with the same stamp set. Fumbling over my words today. And I liked how you could still see that red at the top. And once it's done, it makes it kind of look like a sunset in the background. It's kind of cool. I didn't plan that. It just kind of happened. But that's okay. So, and then I just stamped a sentiment. Something about it's the little things that make the big difference. I can't remember what my stamp says. And I'm not in my room right now while I'm doing the voiceover. So, but it was just about playing around. Still challenging myself with the whole green thing. So now that I got all my stamping down, I've got to find a way to fix my boo-boo. But before I do that, I frame it in with my archival ink. I forgot about that. I just think that this finishes a project, anything, you know, by adding that ink on the edges like that. I just think it makes it look finished. So, and I added a little bit more around the edges than I usually do because I thought maybe I could cover up my boo-boo with just the ink. Nope, didn't happen. Which is fine. Plan B comes along. So I go through my ribbon stash and my trim stash and find one that works. And found just a little blue flower. Now the bird, which you can't see, has different shades of blue in it. Yellows, oranges. You probably can't see the blue, but it's on his head. It's really pretty. So I decided to go with like a real muted blue flower. And that is like a yellowish type of trim, more cream colored than yellow. So, oh, that's a tag that I was working on that I'll show you later. I thought I cut that out. It was taking forever to dry because I loaded it with Mod Podge, and there'll be a video on that coming tomorrow. So I'm putting a hole in my tag, and I'm just going to, that's a brad for my flower center. It's just a brad with like a pearl center there, and all that blue to match the bird's head. And then I decided that there wasn't enough yellow tying it all in with the yellow on the bird. So I took some yellow ribbon, simple yellow ribbon that I have, and I threaded it through the holes in that trim, the lace trim. And ruffled it up and decided I was going to go with that. Also gives it even, you know, more texture, dimension, all that good stuff. So, and I just burn the edge of my ribbon for those that don't know, just really lightly. Almost caught myself on fire tonight too. That's funny. I think it's actually in the video. Yeah. Almost caught myself on fire. I'm just gluing down my ribbon and trim little concoction there. Trimming off the extra, put my flower on, and my boo-boo is gone. You'd never know. It happened. So, and I'm just using, I didn't put any new ink on there. There's still that archival ink on there, and I'm just really, really lightly going around the edges of the flower because it needed to be grunged up a little bit. And then I just played with some ribbon at the top there. I wasn't sure what I was going to use, but There's some blue seam binding, like baby blue seam binding, and then I grabbed some blue lace trim that I got from Fiona. And then I added some more yellow. It needed to be tied together. I wish I had a paler yellow, but that was all I had. And it still worked. So, and I wind up just, there, I almost caught myself on fire there. the ribbon actually had a flame on it. No, maybe that isn't the spot. I burn it again. Yeah, I can't remember. But that's the tiny attacher, and I decided I did not want to tie knots in it. I just wanted to tiny attach it and cover it up with some blue flowers. That's just a recollection pack of blue flowers with the stamens that I have in there. Got those for really cheap. I've had those in my stash for a long time. So I just hot glued those guys on there, and then looked at it more. Ribbon was a little too long, a little too bright, so I just, again, no extra ink. I was just using what was already on there and just grunging up my ribbon a little bit. There it is. Did you see that flame? Caught myself on fire there. Twice. The seam binding did not do well with the flame. So the ribbons were just a little bit too long for my liking. So, and then the yellow was a little too bright yellow down at the bottom, so I just grunged that up a little bit so it just went a little more smooth. And then I called it done. So I hope you guys like it. I am done with it. There it is. So really cool colors, kind of springy, and the Lumiere paint makes it shimmer. So I hope you guys like it and you are inspired. Don't forget to share your projects on the ICWIC Crew community. Thanks, guys.